So I'm here in this brief khutbah, I'm just here to give you a reality check. It's very easy to lose sight of what is real when you are constantly flooded with influencers because of their wealth or because of their fame. You guys are in more danger than any other children in the history of the world, I would argue. There's a celebrity or a wealthy person standing there on Judgment Day, and their followers show up. We followed you our whole life. We were listening to everything. Every video release, every podcast, every TikTok release, every tweet, every post. I'm your biggest fan. Can you help? The people that used to be followed, those same wealthy people and those celebrities, they are going to make an announcement on that day, on Judgment Day. And she has all these endorsements and she's super famous. And she said, can I talk to you for a minute? I said, sure, let's have a conversation. And she said, I feel really depressed and sad and empty inside. You're sad? You have everything that all those millions of girls want. Why are you sad? And she said, all of this is just fake. This khutbah, I did not expect to speak to a large group of children, actually. So I'm giving this khutbah off the cuff, but I want to start with something very important for all of you. I noticed that a lot of the teachers have to keep saying shh every few seconds. You guys know that when the prayer begins, when salah begins, then none of you are having a conversation. And if you did, that would be a really serious problem, right? The Friday khutbah, the moment the adhan is done and the khatib starts speaking, even if it's the most boring speech you've ever heard in your entire life, it's actually considered a part of the prayer. It's considered a part of the prayer. So if you guys are talking about anything in that time, or communicating, texting, whispering, whatever, you're doing that in the middle of prayer. So it's just, and it's not something offensive to the khatib, or offensive to your teachers, or offensive to each other, or disturbing somebody else. It's actually an offense against Allah. And it's better you learn that sooner rather than later, right? Because sometimes kids never learned that properly. And then later on, they become adults and you'll find the khatib is giving a khutbah and some adults are having a conversation with each other because they never learned it when they were kids. The other thing I notice here is a lot of you are older and many of you are younger. And the ones that are older among you, you need to recognize something. Whether you know the younger kids in the room or not, they look up to you. They copy your behavior. And what's interesting to me, I saw, because I was giving the khutbah in Arabic and I know most of you weren't paying attention, but I was paying attention to you. I was spying on you. And while I was spying on you, I realized that the younger kids were actually far more quiet than the older ones. And the older ones were doing a lot of the talking, which means you're okay with setting that example for those younger kids. That's not okay. You need to become a better example for the other kids in the school that are younger than you. Even if you don't know them or you know them, you are, like it or not, a role model. Like it or not, you're always someone who sets an example. You know, in the society we live, in the world we live, everybody says, mind your own business. That's my life, I do whatever I want. Doesn't matter. Leave me alone. I'm free to make whatever choice I make. What's it to you? Why does anybody care? I don't care. That's the kind of attitude that's taught over and over again. But actually, everything you do affects someone else. Even things you do just for yourself affects someone else. Everything you do, the Quran describes, leaves a trail behind you. And people see a trail, like if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go and you see that there's a less grass in one patch, which means somebody walked that part already, so you're going to go that way. And then more people go that way and the grass starts disappearing and that becomes a trail. And then the next time somebody comes along, they don't even think about going in any other direction. They follow the trail. They just go in that same trail. But the first person who walked that trail that made a little bit of a roadway became an example for everybody else, right? So that's an important reminder for myself and for all of you. And I wish all the best to all of you. And well, I used to be in charge of a campus where I taught, you know, I used to give khutbah and there were lots of kids in the khutbah, there were adults in the khutbah. And usually what I would do is I would make sure that the kids were not sitting together in the beginning. Because when they sit together, you know what happens. And then when the khatib is speaking, the khatib is thinking, are they talking about me? Is that what they're doing? Because they're pointing and laughing and they're whispering like those two guys are whispering right now, like those two, yeah, like them, yeah. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's okay. Don't be embarrassed. Hey, you're going to do it. You're going to get called out. So, right? So when that happens, I realized that's also not the best way to go. So I allowed them to sit together. But the only thing I did then is I made a policy. If you would like to speak during the khutbah, I'd like to stop the khutbah, bring the mic over to you, and then have you continue your conversation in front of everyone. And all of a sudden, in the entire community, our kids were the most behaved because nobody wanted to become a celebrity over that kind of behavior. Anyway, the subject that I want to talk to you about today is actually, I think, very important for all of you and myself. When the Prophet ﷺ was giving his message, I think all of you know that the majority of people in the society of Makkah rejected it. They didn't want to hear it. They were not interested. And they gave lots of different reasons. One of the reasons they gave is that he's not rich. He doesn't have a lot of money. Also, he doesn't have a lot of followers. So one, he's not wealthy, and two, he's not popular. Because we only follow people that are either wealthy or popular. That's what makes someone worthy of being followed. Because when people see someone wealthy, someone with a lot of money, a nice house, a nice car, expensive clothes, you name it, right? Then they say, well, I want what they want. I want what they have. So maybe if I follow them, I'll learn their secret and learn to become like them. And then one day I can be wealthy too. Or when somebody sees somebody popular, they say, everybody likes this person. Everybody talks about this person. Nobody ignores that person. Whenever they say something, everybody listens. Everybody, is constantly keeping their eyes on them. And when they do one thing, they wear certain kinds of clothes, or they say something, that becomes a trend, that goes viral. Man, that's power. I wish I was popular. I wish I was an influencer. I wish I was a celebrity. Maybe I can follow them and learn some of their secrets and some of their tricks, and I can follow those tricks, and I can become a celebrity too. So the two things people wanted, among other things, the things that people wanted to, what's the reason I should follow someone? Because I want something that they have. And what are the two things that they had? Either wealth or fame, wealth or celebrity. That's what they had. And that's what people wanted to follow. So one of the reasons they gave for not following the Prophet ﷺ is that he doesn't have any wealth. Why should we follow him? What are we going to get from following him? Definitely not money. And clearly he's not popular. Even when people talk about him, they're criticizing him. They're making fun of him. They're humiliating him. They're yelling at him. They're kicking him out of places. They're threatening him. Why would I want to be a part of that? That doesn't sound like a smart decision. This was the logic. And then when people said, okay, well, even if he's not popular and even if he's not wealthy, why don't you pay attention to what he's saying? Because the Quran is the truth. And if a homeless person is saying the truth, or a billionaire is saying the truth, that doesn't change the fact that it's the truth. The truth doesn't depend on how popular you are, or how unpopular you are, or how wealthy you are, or how poor you are. The truth is just the truth. So why don't you just follow the truth? They said, no. The truth is great, but لولا نزل هذا القرآن على رجل من القريتين عظيم. How come this Quran didn't come down to one of the celebrities? There are lots of wealthy people. If this Quran is really that important, it should have come to a billionaire. It should have come to a famous person. Then we would have even given the time to listen to it. Like nowadays, it could be that you're, on YouTube, you're following somebody, you're following Mr. Beast or something, or anybody, right? And you look at how many followers they have, or how many views they have. And then you look at that and say, okay, you know what? This is a person worth following. Then you see another channel that has 3 followers and 2 views on a video. You're more than likely not to be the 3rd viewer. You're not going to watch it. You look at somebody else, they've already seen 1 million of these, that must be worth watching, right? So that's this kind of thinking. It's not just, in that ancient time, it's forever. That lasts forever. And what happens then is the people that are the most popular and the people that are the most wealthy, in a way, they start replacing the religion. And they start replacing prophets. The whole purpose of prophets is to follow a way. But now, wealthy and famous people show you the way to follow, the way to dress, the way to talk, the way to make your money, the way to spend your money, the way to look. They're setting the standard. So who needs prophets when you have these two? right? That's what happens in many societies. Now, when that happens, I'll tell you an interesting story. I was in a country, I won't name the country, and I met a few celebrities. These were not celebrities that had, 100,000 or 200,000. They had maybe 30 or 40 million followers online. In some cases, 100 million followers. So they're pretty big. And some of them were in the movies. They were actors and actresses. And I was talking to one of them, and she's extremely popular, and like girls in her country go crazy over her. And they're dying, like they have her picture on their wallpapers, all kinds of stuff, right? And she has all these endorsements, and she's super famous. And she said, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" I said, "Sure, let's have a conversation." And she said, I feel really depressed and sad and empty inside. I said, "Why do you feel empty? There's like 100 million people that want to be like you. The biggest dream in life is they could be you. And you're depressed, you're sad, you have everything that all those millions of girls want. You have it all. Why are you sad?" And she said, "All of this is just fake. All of it, it's just empty. It doesn't give me anything. It doesn't mean anything. People think it's so amazing when you get here, and I used to think it's amazing too before I got here. Once I got here, I realized you have no real friends. Everybody only cares about you superficially. Nobody even sees you as a human being anymore. Nobody actually cares about who you are as a person. Everybody you talk to, you can't even have a real conversation with them, because if she has a conversation with one of her friends and shares something personal about herself, or a sadness or something that happened in her life, then that friend will turn around and say, 'You know what? I got the inside gossip. I got the tea on this celebrity. They told me in a private email. They told me in a message.' And she can't even share anything with anybody because everybody's going to snitch on her. Because if they have, I know the inside story on the celebrity, they'll go viral, right? So everybody wants to be around her only to take advantage of her, not to even see her as a human being. So it looked really cool from a distance. But when you get there, and I was like, 'Do you have any real friends?' She goes, I don't have any real friends." "Do you trust anybody?" "I don't even trust my parents now." That's how paranoid she got, right? What happens is those same people, from a distance, they look like they have everything. But actually, they don't have anything. And from a distance, prophets look like they don't have fame, they don't have money, they don't have anything. But actually, they have everything. They're the ones that have everything. This drama will go on in this world. Lots and lots of people in the world are going to follow celebrities and wealthy people, one way or the other. Kids, adults, you name it. And eventually, a time will come where our life will end, and we're going to be standing in front of Allah. The Arabic part that I was reciting in my khutbah today, I was reading something from Surah Al-Baqarah. And Allah is talking about what's going to happen to people who followed those celebrities and followed those wealthy people. Now, because on Judgment Day, everybody's gathered together, right? And on Judgment Day, you're not a celebrity anymore. You don't have security guards around you. You're not up on stage and everybody's trying to talk to you. You're just another person like everybody else. Equal. All in trouble at the same time. You're not a billionaire anymore. Your money's gone. Your cars are gone. Your security's gone. Everything's gone. You're just another human being like everybody else. So they're standing there and their followers show up. There's a celebrity or a wealthy person standing there on Judgment Day and their followers show up. "We followed you our whole life. We were listening to everything. Every video release, every podcast, every TikTok release, every tweet, every post, everything. I followed every bit of what you said. I'm your biggest fan. Can you help? Because I dressed the way I dressed because of you. I talked the way I talked because of you. I memorized all your songs. I did this, I dressed like you. I talked like you. I acted like you. I bought all your, subscriptions, etc., etc. إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ اتُّبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا. The people that used to be followed, those same wealthy people and those celebrities, they are going to make an announcement on that day, on Judgment Day. Judgment Day is also called Yawmul Haqq, the day of reality. Remember that. The day of what? Reality. You know what that means? Right now, you think something is reality, but you'll know what it really is on Judgment Day. Right now, they look like they have everything. Right now they look like they're worthy of being followed. Watch what happens on Judgment Day, on the day of reality. All their followers show up and say, hey, can you help us? We're with you, right? We're with you. إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ اتُّبِعُوا. When those who used to be followed are going to say, we have nothing, مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا, from those who followed them, all their followers, they're going to say, we have nothing to do with these people. I don't even know who these people are. I don't care about them. I hate them. Please get me away from these people. Those same celebrities. And when they used to be in this world, it used to be, hey guys, hit like and subscribe. Love you guys. Wouldn't be here without you. I love my fans, etc., etc. Right? I'm looking out for you. All the show of love and loyalty to make you feel like, and then they'd make songs and videos and music and things like that. And all their fans would say, I feel like I can relate to what you're saying. It's like you're talking about me. Yeah, I know. Love you guys. Kisses. And on Judgment Day, I have nothing to do with these people. I don't know who they are. إِذْ تَبَرَّأَ الَّذِينَ اتُّبِعُوا مِنَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا. In another place in the Quran, similarly, Allah says a person will come in front of Allah on Judgment Day and say, Ya Allah, I want to be saved. I don't want to burn in Jahannam. I don't have any money left. I don't have any influence left. Can I offer my parents? You can take them. I want to be saved. You can take my kids. I want to be saved. You can take my extended family. I want to be saved. That's not enough? Okay, how about you take the rest of the population of planet Earth and put them, وَمَنْ فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا, put everybody on the earth in hell, just save me, please. That's what they're going to say. That's what they're going to show you who they really care about. You cared so much about them. You gave them your time, your attention. You gave them a part of your brain. You gave them a part of your tongue. You gave them your ears. The most valuable things you have, you gave that to them. And this is what they're giving you. You're just worth fuel for a fire. That's what you're worth to them. وَرَأَوْا الْعَذَابِ وَتَقَطَّعَتْ بِهِمُ الْأَسْبَابِ. And on that day, the followers and their celebrities and their leaders, they're all going to be looking at the punishment because they didn't follow the prophets, they followed each other. That's what they did. And then when they look at the punishment, وَتَقَطَّعَتْ بِهِمُ الْأَسْبَابِ, all of their relationships will be cut. Now, so the first part we saw was the celebrities are going to say, we want nothing to do with the followers. Now the followers are going to speak. وَقَالَ الَّذِينَ اتَّبَعُوا لَوْ أَنَّ لَنَا كَرَّةً. The followers will say, if we had another chance, if we could go back to the world, لَنَتَبَرَّأَ مِنْهُمْ كَمَا تَبَرَّأُوا مِنَّا. We would cut ourselves off from these people. We would say we have nothing to do with them, the same way they're saying we have nothing to do with you now. The way they are saying, I want nothing to do with you people, we would have done exactly the same thing. Ya Allah, just give us another chance. I got it. Now I'm blocking them. Unfollow. No more an addict to their content. I'm all done with it. Right? Allah says, كَذَلِكَ يُرِيهِمُ اللَّهُ أَعْمَالَهُمْ حَسَرَاتٍ عَلَيْهِمْ. That is how Allah will show people their deeds so they can regret and regret and regret over what they used to do. You guys are very, very young, and you're living in a very strange time in the history of the world. You are being flooded with messages about who to follow. You're being flooded like no other generation of children before you in the history of the world. This never happened. You guys are in more danger than any other children in the history of the world, I would argue. So, and Allah decided that you should be born now. If you were born 100 years ago, your biggest problem would have been your best friend has a nicer goat than you do. Right? That was, But that's not the case. You're living in the age of social media. You're living in the age of influencers. You're living in the age of constant messaging. And let me tell you something about that. You guys have heard about gambling before? You can nod if you have. Have you heard about gambling? You know how gambling and alcohol and these things become addictions? They become addictions. When Facebook and Snapchat and Instagram and TikTok, some of these companies that are, Facebook's for old people, I know, but like some of these other social media platforms, when they were building their platforms, they needed to figure out how to keep people hooked, how to keep people swiping, because the longer you stay on the app, the more money they make. So it's not, you think it's free content, but actually your attention makes them money. So it used to be in the old world, they used to get gold out of the ground and diamonds and minerals, and you sell those were the resources. Human attention is actually something that makes money too, from the algorithms and advertising revenue and viewership revenue. This is how they build their revenue. So they're making money off of your attention. So they needed to figure out, how do I keep this 14-year-old, how do I keep this 13, 12-year-old or 16-year-old, how do I keep them on my app? And how do I keep them scrolling, and because I need to keep them on here longer. I need to make them addicted. So what they did is they hired the best developers, the best designers of casinos in Las Vegas. Las Vegas is a place that has a lot of gambling casinos where people go because they have a gambling problem, and they have those slot machines. Have you ever seen those slot machines before? They have those slot machines, and those people, you know what they do in those slot machine halls? They pump extra oxygen into those halls so people don't get sleepy. And they give free drinks. You get free Cokes and free caffeinated sodas and coffees and whatever. So people get hyped up and they stay awake, and they'll give you free Red Bulls and stuff. It's because they want people just sitting there and not getting up and keep gambling and keep gambling and keep gambling. And people will lose their house, they'll lose their life savings and all of it. But they designed it, and they even set up cameras so they can watch the eyeballs of the gambler to see if they're dilating or not, to create excitement for them. They'll run all these experiments on those people. Those people that ran those experiments and created those environments, they're the ones that designed social media apps. They were hired to create addiction for you and me. And you're just kids. You're going to easily fall into addiction, easily. So I'm here, in this brief khutbah, I'm just here to give you a reality check. It's very easy to lose sight of what is real when you are constantly flooded with influencers because of their wealth or because of their fame. Maybe they're famous because of their athleticism or because of their beauty or because of their some entertainment that they do, whatever it is that made them famous. Those things will become an addiction for you, and you're not gonna be able to get out of it. So it's, in the end, you're the one responsible to step out of that, inshallah ta'ala, and follow something that's actually real. Follow and learn something that's actually valuable, that's going to make you a stronger human being. I pray that Allah Azza wa Jal makes all of you strong human beings, and I pray that the older boys and girls here are able to become the best role models for the younger children that are here. And may Allah Azza wa Jal give your teachers the ability to inspire you, to guide you, and to correct you. And may Allah make you really ready for when these years of this school, where you have to come together for Jum'ah and sit here and pray and all that stuff, this is going to be over. You're going to go to university. Nobody's going to tell you to get together for Jum'ah then. Your professor's not going to be a Muslim. He's going to be an atheist. That's going to happen. They're not going to talk about Allah and His Messenger. They're going to talk against Allah and His Messenger. That's going to happen too. This is the time you have to get ready for that time. You're here to get ready for what's going to happen after. So I pray you make the most of this time and you're prepared for the world, because Allah decided, Allah who knows everything and has all the plans, Allah decided that you kids are the best, most smartest, most capable children to handle this most dangerous time in history. He didn't choose any other children, any other human beings. He chose you for this time because He knows you're the most capable to handle it. So that's Allah's plan for you. So I pray that you're able to live up to that potential that Allah sees in you. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikril hakim.